Alright, well, we're gonna give this another try. And I hope it works. I'm gonna be pretty irritated. Alright, there we go.
Hey, it's me. Welcome to Trump Mafia. 2015, I wasn't on YouTube, but I was talking politics here and there, and I remember talking about how Trump could enable a second declaration of independence, if you will, energized by we the people and the American spirit. As 2016 came along, more and more, I had that feeling, and it was true. You saw a movement of the people, and I'm not talking about online, I'm talking about across our nation. And of course, a lot of forgotten men and women were involved, and that led to the victory of President Trump and we the people. But if you look at how everything developed since then, it's now 2018, I have to say that it's amazing to see how many parallels you really have with 1776 and prior to that, because back then you also had the establishment. Now you had a tyranny from the English, but you had a lot of Americans that were part of the system, even John Hancock. And so you had a media that was also a fake media, a controlled media, and they were putting out a lot of poison about some of these real patriots, and a lot of Americans just wanted to stay with the status quo. A lot of people didn't want to get into a fight, and a lot of people were cowards, to be honest. And so when you had the war for independence, we're talking about a lot of people that actually sided with the English, and it's sad that we now have a similar situation. A lot of people trying to backstab Trump and we the
Those
people.
aren't some demons,
The
I don't know what
establishment that has a great hatred for the power of the people, just like the English had for patriotic Americans way back when. And so when you're looking at the economy, you had heavy taxation, English really taking advantage of their colony, and this at the expense of American farmers, and the same has happened since, but President Trump really came to the rescue. So it's almost like Trump is the personification of we the people, and it is a type of revolution. I hate to say that word because it's often a left-wing movement, but you have to understand that our nation is really about we the people, and that's not socialism, that's patriotism. And it comes to a point where you have to understand that we are in a rebirth right now of our nation. I call it going up to the next level, but you could see it as a rebirth. And so you still have many people that long for the establishment to return, and some people are destined to be slaves in a system. Now, as you saw, the American patriots of way back when, they were tearing down some of the establishment systems that kept people in line. President Trump is doing the same. And that's why you have a walkaway movement, people joining a Trump nation. And that is why you have an incredible resistance to it. Everything that you see from the left, the resistance, these are the slaves. These are people that are part of the establishment, part of the systems. And of course that includes a lot of people in the media on the left and the right. Because when I've been exposing for more than a year now some of the people in the right media that are handled by their masters, in other words, they will tell the people something that sounds good,
Trey Gowdy.
but the motive they have is really nefarious. And you have that back
Trey
when
Gowdy
you would
is
have
a
people
freaking good.
that are talking to
Surprised he doesn't have any
Hispanic
funny
Americans
pictures
that
of him
want to
yet.
separate
Sorry.
from the English, and then at the same time they're saying, yeah, but you know, the English kind of support our Americanism and they can help us actually, and yeah, we have to separate, but at the same time we have to keep some connection. And it's also very similar to what is happening in the UK right now with Brexit. So people vote, okay, get out of the EU, but then they're trying to massage it for almost 2 years now, saying, yeah, but it can be a soft Brexit. And then that morphs into, maybe we shouldn't have a Brexit. Maybe we should have another vote to see if people really still believe that we should separate from the EU. And you have the same thing right now. You have, yeah, Trump is good and the results are good, but maybe the past system wasn't that bad, and maybe Trump is benefiting from what happened in the last decades or whatnot. And I've compared this to what happened to the Tea Party, right? You have a movement of people in 2010 and onwards, but there was no leader of it. Now we have Trump, of course, but back then it was just Tea Party people, right? And you had all these people suddenly kind of hijacking parts of the Tea Party. The GOP establishment itself taking on some of these Tea Party people, then
Looks like a killer clown.
charlatans like Glenn Beck and Steve Bannon were all over it trying to ride a wave and make themselves very rich. That's exactly what they did. And then you had Tea Party this, Tea Party that. And even Eric Erickson, who's like really a never Trumper and, you know, like a fake conservative, he was all over taking a chunk of the Tea Party. And the end result is it's diluted and it's not a Tea Party anymore. And then you have candidates that are quote-unquote Tea Party and conservatives who turn out to be establishment hacks and losers. Marco Rubio being a good example, Trey Gowdy another, and these people are rhinos. Even now, Marco Rubio is suddenly trying to ride the Trump wave and trying to sound like Trump, but it's not convincing. These people are hacks. But what happened is that a very strong movement of we the people, a spontaneous grassroots movement, is diluted, topped up, and it's disgusting. And the same thing is being attempted right now, and it's kind of working, to be honest. You have this Q operation pulling people away, and
This guy is
also
a trip.
I don't care what anybody says. And you have the
I love him.
InfoWars pulling people away. You have Steve Bannon and his people pulling people away. Then you have the Fox News hacks, because they're all getting orders from the Murdochs. Janine Pirro, Laura Ingeman, Mother Tucker, they all have some kind of an agenda.
I like
Judge
Janine,
put out a
but
narrative,
whatever.
but of course make it in such a way that it sounds like it's
Louis
pro-Trump,
Farrakhan next to Obama.
pro-conservative, but the end result is not. For example, Pirro saying, hey, the Mueller probe should go on indefinitely because it will expose Obama. No. I mean, that is what the left wants, is that the Mueller probe will always be there. Trump has been saying it should end for more than a year now. So, yeah, for people it sounds like, great, oh, Obama's going to be exposed? Okay, let the Mueller probe continue. And so the end result is the Mueller probe continues, which helps the left, and that's not what Trump wants. Or you have Laura Ingeman talking about, yes, we don't like the demographics and the white race is disappearing, and it's a caricature, a stereotype of what the left says Trump supporters are, racist deplorables. And it sounds good because, of course, people don't like illegal immigration and all of that. But the end result is she's making Trump supporters look like a bunch of racists, and that's what the left wants. That's what the left says. And so thanks to Laura Ingeman at Fox News, that's what you have. And so every time you look at some of these people, it sounds like it's pro-conservative. It sounds like it's pro-Trump, but then it's secretly helping the establishment and the left. And that's why I see the parallel with what happened pre-revolution and pre-independence is you had a lot of Americans, patriots,
Humans.
but they were siding with the establishment. So they were saying, yeah, we need more freedom, we need this, and we need that. On the other hand, and the end result is they're actually backing the establishment and the English, but they make it sound like they're not. And so it fools a lot of ordinary people, right? And that's why it's like fake news or controlled opposition, call it what you will. And that's an interesting parallel that I'm seeing right now. But it's also the chopping up of a grassroots movement of we the people, putting Trump supporters up against each other and splitting them into little groups. Then they're easier to defeat. And again, that's what you had way back when. You had a legitimate uprising of the people. Then you had people splitting up American farmers and, the richer elite Americans. And then you had a bunch of people that were more for a nationalist feeling. Other people were more for a republic. And yet more people were about, still being with the English, but having more say, for example. And so you're splitting up a movement of the people into little parts, easier to defeat. So at the onset of the war for independence, you had a lot of turncoats. And you've seen that even now with the whole Trump movement. Okay, everybody's on board, and then as soon as he's inaugurated, you have Adam Coulter, you have Laura Ingemann in 2017, and Spandex Bones, and Michael Oscar Mayer Wiener Savage. They're all like, being turncoats. That's the only way you can describe it. And yeah, they're using their decade or 2-decade long connection to an audience to pull them away.
The turtle.
To hijack the group and to sell vitamins, to use the group for their own means. The way they did it with the Tea Party, the way that in the past, even the English were able to tear away groups from the original people that were rising up. And so, again, you have to look at the founders of our nation. We're talking about incredible people, right? Sometimes I feel
that's what a Trump supporter looks like.
We're so blessed to have this type of
And then you see what
history.
Antifa looks like.
And so to think about Thomas Jefferson and John Hancock and Hamilton and all of these people, some of them you cannot even imagine that they would sit at the same table without stabbing each other to death with a fork. But these people got together, and you're talking about a mixed bag, but they all had something in common, right? And so we have that also. So you have all these forces, from QAnon to the Fox News minions to some of these radicals selling vitamins, and some of the other people just plain bribed by the left and taking the money, that are pulling us apart, and it's working to some extent. But then there's Trump, and this is what they cannot control. Trump and his Twitter account, or Trump and his rallies, are doing it for their own means, right? I want to be famous. I want to be cute. I want to be famous.
This is pissing me off.
Spandex Bones. I want to sell vitamins.
No, I tried to do a live stream earlier, and it just all of a sudden started. It lasted a lot longer this time, but started freezing on me. It's like, what the heck? I think maybe obviously I don't have all my updates or something, but it said that it did.
I'm Adam Coulter. I want to sell books. And so I just think about the distant past. You had exactly the same thing. You had
his pictures
English
are just awesome,
and they were offering giant bribes to some of these top people that were founders of our nation.
It's almost worth watching just because of the pictures.
But a lot of people did take bribes. A lot of people did work against the Declaration of Independence because they took the bribes. and they were trying to get people to join them and get away from all of these radicals that were trying to rise up and create their own nation. And so that's what I'm seeing now. I see a lot of cowards.
I love it, don't you? Love it.
Fifth column people, and many people are fooled by it, just like in the past. And so what happened really in the past is that you had a small group of people, and getting support was difficult. And even when they got support, when things got rough, many of them just took off and gave up. But when the winning continued, then more people joined up.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny.
Working against this group.
I like the one. There's one where I think Nunez is walking Gowdy down, and he's like, Gowdy's like a little kid. They got his head on a little kid, and he's like dragging him down the hallway. That one is hilarious. I don't think he puts it on this one.
As being Trump supporters, call it the Trump Mafia, the Trump Nation, Trump family. People that were with Trump from the beginning, we saw the whole establishment, even all these right-wing websites and right-wing personalities go against Trump, including Mark Levin, including Laura Ineke, man. I mean, never Trumpers, most of 2016, and of course in 2015. It was amazing. Even I was shocked. But then when the winning begins and, things go well, then they're all like on board, right? But then still, many of them would take off or use it for their own means. And we're not talking about a type of loyalty that you can depend on. And so what I'm saying to conclude is really that you have so many parallels with 1776 in terms of politics, the economy, and culture. And people,
Not England this time, it's China.
A lot of people are cowards. A lot of people, maybe they're easily influenced. And many people are following some of the Pied Pipers that are leading people astray and away from something that really makes our nation great. And so President Trump is so valuable in all of this because he can see that. And he knows how to bring people back together. And that's really what is necessary. When you have that many people that are just doing things for themselves or for the establishment and spreading a lot of misinformation and propaganda in many cases, deceiving parts of the Trump nation. So
yeah, that one is creepy. That is creepy.
About the left media, we know they're against Trump. It's a given, it's a fact. You don't even have to discuss it. Don't watch it, ignore it. The problem is the fifth column. The problem is always the fifth column. And it was like that in the past, and the war for independence. It was always the traitors, the turncoats, the fifth column, the snitches. These were the biggest problems that Washington faced. It wasn't like there wasn't enough support, and it wasn't even about ammo. I mean, that was a big problem.
Very
supplies,
creepy.
But the biggest problem he faced was dealing with all these turncoats, deserters, snitches, the fifth column, spies.
You look at that one. That one, Michelle.
Even in the right-wing media, I see so many snitches, spies in Congress also, and some of them you would never know. But that's why they're the fifth column, right? And that's why it's dangerous.
Four
that's
horsemen
why I've
right
been
there.
talking about it.
Four horsemen of
even though
the
it doesn't
apocalypse.
make me popular, but just like the founders of our nation, I don't give a rat's ass, right? Traitors are traitors, have to be called out, and snitches belong in ditches. And we have to talk about it so that we know about it, or at least if you hear me talk about it, you will think about it when you hear some of these people say what they say, and you will try to look at the other angle. Why are these people saying this or that? Why is it not what Trump is saying? And why am I following a troll on the internet, or Trump Mafia?
Oh, you missed it.
Or Hispanics Bones.
How's it going, girl? How you doing?
I mean, it's all about Trump and the Trump Nation.
Hold on.
The reason it's about
I gotta go
Trump
back
is
just a little
because
bit so you can see
makes our
this.
nation great. And so President Trump is so valuable in
This
all of
part
this
coming up is so funny.
because he can see
Give
that.
it 30
and
seconds.
He knows how to bring people back together.
How kids
And that's
get better.
what is necessary when you have that many people that are just doing things for themselves or for the establishment and spreading a lot of misinformation and propaganda in many cases,
It's better.
deceiving parts of the Trump nation. So notice I'm not even talking about the left media. We know they're against
Okay, it's
Trump.
about her.
That's a given. It's a fact. You don't even have to discuss it. Don't watch it. Ignore it. The problem is the fifth column. The problem is always the fifth column. And it was like that in the past and the war for independence. It was always the traitors.
Okay, it's
the
coming up.
turncoats, fifth column, the snitches. These were the biggest problems that Washington faced.
Oh, I went back a little far.
It
Sorry.
wasn't like there wasn't enough
Hold on.
support, and it wasn't even about ammo. I mean, that was a big problem, even supplies. But the biggest problem he faced was dealing with all these turncoats, deserters, snitches, the fifth column, spies. And that's what we have now. Even in the right-wing media, I see so many snitches, spies in Congress also,
Come on, hurry up.
and some of them you would never know. But that's why they're the fifth column, right? And that's why it's dangerous.
Or
That's why
horsemen.
I've been talking about it, even though it doesn't make me popular.
Okay, it's coming.
But just like the founders of our nation, I don't give a rat's ass, right? Traitors are traitors, have to be called out, and snitches belong in ditches. And we have to talk about
Yeah,
it
he
so
did.
that we know about it, or at least
Funny pictures
if
coming
you hear
up.
me talk about it, you will think about it when you hear
Come
some of
on,
these people
here
say
it
what they
comes.
say, and you will try to present the other angle. And why are these people saying this or that? Why is it not what Trump is saying? Why am I following a troll on the internet, or Trump Mafia, or QAnon, or Spandex Bones, instead of Trump? I mean, it's all about Trump and the Trump nation. And the reason it's about Trump
That
is
one's
because
so
he is the personification of we the people. He is the personification of the second revolution, and that will make America great again.
Say, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, I've seen that one too. Yes, I have. That was yes. And yeah, there's why the hell is it going to the view?
Cut out for her every day.
No, I'm not joking. I saw that one. Yeah, it was the Ellen show. Yes. But I've seen many a times of her walking off the tarmac and different things, and it's like, there's a dong wagon around there. Like, why wouldn't you wear some or whatever you want to call it? Why wouldn't you wear some underwear? I think I saw this dude that said pretty much every female vice president was a man. He went through all of this, or not vice president. I mean, every president's wife was really a man. And I mean, I'm not saying Hillary's a man or anything like that, but he did this video and he showed some of these wives from back in the day, our presidents, and they literally did look like men in drag. Yeah, looking like they got Adam's apples. It was pretty disturbing. I'm not saying I believe it all to be true, but it was like, whoa. Yes, he did. How many times? It was so many times he got caught calling it Michael.
A little story about a king. His name was Diomedes. He was the third leader in the epic war of Troy. The 200-year war of ancient Greece against Troy. And he believed the story of Troy was mythology until they found the artifacts in the ocean. You see, Diomedes was a king in his city-state back at home in Greece. And after he served and led the soldiers into battle, he came home to protect his kingdom. And he noticed that every time he sent his soldiers off to battle back at home in his kingdom, they would lose every battle. So he didn't know what he was doing wrong, and he prayed to the goddess Athena, and Athena said to him, Diomedes, I like you. a righteous king. You're kind and you're fair. Therefore, I will grant you this one gift. I will wipe the cloud from your eyes so you can see the world for what it really is. The Eumedes had no idea what she had done for him. But the next day when he went off to battle, he noticed the same
This
gods
part
that
is
he was
badass.
worshiping were helping his adversaries. To make a long story short, he takes his spear, he throws it at the breastplate of Apollo, and he wounds Apollo. Well, Diomedes was punished for this because he wasn't supposed to abuse his gift. But the story, as we all know, is mythology. And it begs the question, do we have a cloud over our eyes? So let me do you a favor. Let me wipe the cloud from your eyes so you can see the world for what it really is. If you're seeing this for the first time, that means you're one of the first people in the world to see this. This is what you call a game changer, because the same demons of science that have been ruling over us for how many years now have just lost. This is a gift to you. Use it wisely.
Who are you, soldier?
Achilles.
Achilles. I remember the name. The ruler of Thessaly carries this scepter. Give it to your king.
He's not my king.
Hey everybody, this is Respike Phenom. What you're looking at is Boston, Massachusetts. Make it a little bit difficult.
I'm getting
to
sick of
see
this freaking
flat
messing with me.
lands further away. For example,
You guys still there?
The ocean right behind Boston is a little more
Freaking new
difficult to see
phone.
due to a small hill obstructing your view closer by. It's a perspective issue, and my infrared camera
Sweet.
only cuts through so much of this atmosphere. You're battling through hundreds of miles of atmosphere, and today wasn't the clear as day. For the vast majority of this panning as I go by, it's mostly ocean in the background. Once I reach the mountainous terrain, that's when you'll see the mountain I'm referring to. This particular mountain at this distance has never been witnessed by human eyes before. It's the highest point on the east coast of the United States of America. Located in Mount Desert Island within Acadia National Park with an elevation of 1,530 feet. I'm standing on Mount Wachusett, which is a 2,600 elevation, located in the Princeton-Westminster line of Massachusetts. At a range of 220 miles, there should be 32,000 feet of obstructed curvature. And when you see the picture of the mountain that I took, it matches up perfectly with the picture of Cadillac Mountain, at the exact angle it's supposed to be at.
Hold on, he gets a little bit more into proof here in what he says. I know this is a little bit grainy, but give it a minute.
You see, I think that's a Doppler radar station. That's Haystack Observatory, I believe, in Groton, Massachusetts. And as I pan the horizon, you see silhouettes of other images. I'm using a 120 millimeter achromatic Orion telescope with a 520 nanometer infrared filter embedded in the inside of it that I glued on the inside of it. I'll show you pictures of that in the end of how I constructed it. I'm using an Orion CCD camera that I knocked out the filter that it had in there. It had an infrared filter in there that completely blocked out 100% of the infrared and UV. So when I removed it, I was able to use my particular filter that I embedded in the telescope, and it rendered me
Okay, he gets there in a minute.
This gives you the ability to cut through the haze in the atmosphere. Now this is the best I could do with the portable equipment that I had available. I'm sure once other
Hold on a
people see
sec.
this
He's gonna explain it real
they will
quick.
duplicate it and get better results. I think the best imagery is at 950 nanometers. I'm still waiting for that filter to come in, but what you're about to see is unbelievable. I performed this experiment under the worst of conditions. The clouds were heavy, it was muggy, and it was just...
Hold on, you still there? Sorry, hold on, you still there? I do not. This thing keeps kicking crap off. It's about to piss me off. Alright, I'm gonna try to turn off. Alright. You there?
Others can do the same. For that filter to come in, but what you're about to see is unbelievable.
Sorry, man.
I performed this experiment under the worst of conditions. The clouds were heavy, it was muggy, and it was just about to rain. The foundation of science says, put your money where your mouth is. And if you can do an experiment, others can do the same and get the same results.
Yeah,
And
new
I
phone.
challenge anybody to duplicate this experiment. We are not supposed to see this under any circumstances. But do you know why the ragtag flat earth community is winning right now? Because we have nothing to lose. What do you do when you go up against an enemy that's had a stranglehold on you for 500 years?
Turned off my Wi-Fi.
Nothing for the
I'm gonna
return.
see how it works. But yeah, all my stuff went onto this phone. I'm probably just gonna end up getting a couple of different lines. But yeah, right now I switch everything over to this. Oh, one sec. I'm hoping this is gonna work because yeah, it's
How did
it's kind of irritating. I know I'm hooked up to my Wi-Fi, but I think I don't know. I need to figure out a different way to hook up to it or something. But no, yeah, like I said, having the new phone, whatever. So I turned off my Wi-Fi, and I'm hoping that's gonna help. All right, this is pretty crazy. If this is supposed to be as ancient as they say, how are there still wooden beams? I mean, obviously petrified, but watch this creepy shit. This is awesome. There are some doorways you won't go under because there's still wooden beams that look are holding up the doorway. Yeah, wait till he goes inside. It's freaking awesome. Thanks for being here, guys. Throw a thumbs up if it'll let you. It's supposed to help with the algorithm or whatever. Been here as a kid, where he's at? Nice. That's awesome. You're a lucky kid, man. It's freaking sick. Oh, it's in New Mexico? Nice.
My uncle say, I lost faith. Picture them giving up.
I thought it was somewhere crazy, but Eric says it's in New Mexico. But wait till he goes inside. It is freaking awesome. Yeah, for real. Looks like an ancient fortress. Freaking like Roman days and shit. Yeah, how fun would that be? Oh, come on, don't haze out. How's that? This looks like a fortress or the bottom of a castle. Definitely looks like something that got the crap beat out of it. That's for sure. I mean, look how well it was built and fortified. I mean, it was ready for sieges and wars. Looks like it got beat the hell out of. Wait till you go in and you can see, like, watch. I'll explain. But yeah, look, that would scare me to walk into that. I'd be like, that's gonna fall on my head. Not walk under it, but it'd be like, damn, really? See, look, that was extra levels. You know what I mean? So think about how many levels. Like, that was a way to come out a door. I mean, just this thing was multi-level. Yeah, you can totally see the beams coming out, you know what I mean, to support, yeah, the floors. You know what I mean? Like, dude, those crazy different levels. How big those beams are. I think that's the mystery. Alright, hold on, let's see. Is it, which one's better? Oh, you bastard. Imagine the manpower it took to build that. the time and the energy and the will. I mean, you gotta have some serious coin to pay enough people to build that, and you gotta have a big enough thriving industry, market, rhyme, reason, and to build it so strong as a fortress, obviously, war. Yeah, this ain't like the pyramids. I think people did. If it would have been giants, I think the doorways would be a little bit bigger, and the blocks would be bigger. But yeah, I many of videos where you're like, nope, giants built that. But no, the doorways are too small, and the bricks are too small. No, this is obviously a crazy trading route for a long time. You don't put energy into something like this for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You know, this is, like you're saying, this is 100 and longer of years that people were here. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, come on, we know Columbus wasn't the first white man here. You know, Vikings, this, that, from what, other history that goes back. But yeah, I mean, this was a insane trading post. Even they say the Egyptians came here, blah, 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 whatever. But this was built over hundreds of years. This was not a 50-year fort, which took generations and generations of planning. Because you got to start off small. You at least got to have a small little indoor or a little spot to start off with to protect yourself. Or why would you build things this strong? Looks like it's strong enough to uphold from freaking trebuchets and cannonballs. I mean, some of those walls look 16 feet thick. Most of them were 8 to 10 at least, but it was nuts. Alright, really? Nice. That wouldn't surprise me if there is. That looks like all CNI. What up? Hey, everybody give a thumbs up. It's supposed to help out. This phone's being weird. And YouTube is being mean, man. Doesn't like my new phone. There it goes. Nice. Somebody was telling me on the other live feed I tried to do it, wouldn't let him. Hey, hey. Thank you. Whoa, was that like some crazy... Hold on, was that some crazy graffiti? Look at that. That's some weird looking shit. Yeah, this place is ancient. Yeah, I know, that was weird. Phone's been weird. I started a little late. Yeah, look at that. That's some old shit. crazy is how civilizations like end up building over each other, and you wonder how many times that place was abandoned and then somebody came back and rebuilt on it. That always trips me out. It's like, how many times have people come back and rebuilt it, or how many generations, to the point where they don't even remember anymore. Alright, 1 second. Nope. Come on. Oh god, alright.
When the
Sorry.
kids return to
Let's
Mohawk
get angry.
College in Hamilton, Ontario next month, they're about to find that their campus has become that much more
Sorry, you know me, I switch it up.
diverse. For there shall be a new addition to the student body, namely a recently released terrorist.
Get some popcorn.
I meant to say a recently released mental patient, one who harbors Islamist fantasies. Isn't inclusion wonderful? Perhaps the name Ayanli Hassan Ali rings a bell. In March 2016, the 30-year-old burst into a Canadian Forces recruiting office in North Toronto wielding a large kitchen knife. Ali punched, slashed, and stabbed a corporal at the entrance. He then chased the
It is
sergeant
crazy.
who rushed out of her office. Ali narrowly missed slicing
Imagine if
the
we
back
did
of
this.
her neck. And then he tried to stab another sergeant who'd fallen to the ground. When Ali was finally subdued, he was charged with 9 counts, including attempted murder. Now, you'd think this guy would be incarcerated either in prison or the loony bin for a very, very long time, given the gravity of the charges, eh? But no, according to a fascinating piece in the Toronto Sun by Michelle Mandel, Ali is soon going to be released from the secure psychiatric facility he's being detained at so he can go back to school. Gee, I hope Mohawk College doesn't have a culinary arts program.
No, he gets to go to
given
college
Ali's
on
love for
Toronto's
certain
dime.
types of cutlery. Now, Ali will initially be supervised, but the Ontario Review Board has decided, in its glorious wisdom, that he will eventually be allowed to attend classes without any supervision. Because really, what could possibly go wrong?
How many kids are going to
You see,
unenroll?
This story
I bet a lot.
stinks worse than a dead skunk. For starters, we are once again being told
The
by
stupid ones
usual
won't because they don't
suspects
want to
that
get
Ali
called
was
racist.
merely suffering
Back
from,
to school.
you guessed
Knifings.
it, mental illness when he committed his slash and dash spree 2 years ago.
It gets
Oh,
worse.
yes, it was a terrible thing indeed and absolutely terrifying for his victims, but don't you dare label it as an act of terrorism because Ali was just having, bad day. And he was later diagnosed with schizophrenia, so there. And yet, why would Ali
Yes, it
choose
does.
a Canadian government office that was recruiting soldiers? Well, it turns out he had some concerns about Canada's foreign policy dealings in regards to Islamic nations.
Really? They do. They take care of them.
Past tense here, because you see, the Ontario Review Board notes that Ali, quote, continues to express concerns about the Canadian government and its interactions with Muslim countries, end quote. Nah, no radical Islam to see here, folks.
How many
Move
girls are
along,
going to wear
move along.
burqas to go to
and
school that
check
first
out this
day?
other little inconvenient goof. According to the ORB, Ali claims he wanted to martyr himself at the time of the attack. He actually expressed disappointment that he hadn't been killed when he was arrested. Damn it, those 72 voluptuous black-eyed virgins will just have to continue waiting for Mr. Wonderful. And yet, despite the target and his motivation and his lust for martyrdom, we're still all being told that Ali's crimes had nothing whatsoever to do with radical Islam. Look, maybe I was born in the night, but I wasn't born last night. And by the way, why is it that yet again mental illness and being a jihadist must be mutually exclusive? Why is it so hard to comprehend that Ali is mentally ill and he also harbors a deep-seated hatred for the West? Or is even contemplating such a thing too, culturally insensitive for polite society to ponder these days?
Yeah, what's wrong with you,
But
racist?
the worst thing about the Ali story is this. Whether you believe he's simply a poor lamb who struggles with mental illness, or he's a wolf hell-bent on killing infidels, or that maybe he's a bit of both, Consider this nugget of wisdom from the Ontario Review Board, which has greenlit the way for Ali to attend Mohawk College. Quote, Ali still poses a significant threat to the safety of the public and holds some of the same delusions that he experienced at the time of the attack, end quote. Can you believe your ears, folks? The ORB is admitting that Ali is still mentally ill, and
we're gonna release him
he is
around your
still
children.
a clear and present danger, and he is still fully capable of picking up a butcher knife yet again.
The West has lost
But
his mind.
he's nevertheless going back to school in September. Why is the ORB willing to roll the dice on this guy?
Now that
Is it
whoever does
because
will
the
get in
board
trouble.
wants to show sensitivity, or
They'll
that
get in
it
trouble
wants
more than
to
he would.
virtue signal that everybody deserves a second chance,
The heck, they keep
even
kicking people
someone
off
who is
or
still
what?
mentally ill and is perhaps a terrorist who craves martyrdom. How did we ever get to this point? And how can we ever return to a state of normalcy, one in which public safety actually
We're
trumps
from 5 to
political
1 in
correctness? For the
minute.
Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, the Rebel has a new app.
The
Please
hell?
download that app and take the Rebel with you.
Went from 5 to 1 in 1 minute. Oh, come on.
I am your voice.
Let's laugh at CNN.
Hey, what's up, everyone? CNN, the king of news, is at it again. So, Allison Camerata aired a segment of supposed Trump voters who have now regretted that they voted for him. When they uploaded the segment to YouTube, this is what they named it: Trump
It
voter.
wouldn't surprise me.
The president is a monster. Despite the fact, and it is obvious as can be, the segment is chopped up, heavily edited to push a certain narrative. But sadly, that's not the worst part. They have an actual self-proclaimed, self-identified socialist on the panel claiming to be a Trump supporter. Give me a break. Here, watch this.
Well, yeah, hopefully it's not when he
All right,
goes
we
to
are
kill
more than
people.
18 months into the Trump presidency, so we thought it would be a good time to check in with Trump
But they'll get called
voters
racist,
to see
you
how
know
they're
that.
feeling today. I sat down with a panel of people from California, Texas, Ohio, and New York, all of whom voted for Donald Trump. At one time, these folks were all on the same side, excited about this outsider running for president. But as you'll see, times have changed, and today
Yeah,
some
right.
feel very differently. So here now, our next Pulse of the People.
It's
How many of you are
nuts.
still just as excited today as you were
You're right,
on
bro.
Election Day about President Trump?
Maybe more so.
And how many of you, the rest, would you say that you regret your votes? Raise your hands.
This is
Well, no-
Jeremy Montañez, who has a public Facebook page and a public YouTube channel. I hate to tell you, Allison, this guy did not vote for President Trump. Jeremy, like all left-wing kooks, believes in gun restrictions and redistribution of wealth.
This
It
guy's
says
got less
right
subs than
here
me.
on his public YouTube channel. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm here because I like to act.
And he got on
I like to be on
CNN?
camera. I like social issues and whatnot. Blah, 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 blah.
Of them.
Jeremy, what do you regret about your vote?
In
I
my
could
mind,
get
the way I
on-
look at him now, I think he's a monster. I think he's a bigot. I think that he's doing a lot of things to ruin people's lives. I don't think that he had. I think that he's taking this country in the wrong
We should mess
direction,
with him.
and it's a terrifying time.
We should get on and say
Was
hi.
there a moment that turned you?
It was when I heard about what was going on the southern border.
What part did you object to?
Oh, you know how
Family
many people are
separation
messing with him now?
And the children in cages.
I would chime in just really quick.
I guarantee he's got more
parents
subscribers
who
than
are
me
breaking
now
the
just
law,
so they
bringing
can
their
mess
kids
with
here.
him.
If you don't want to be separated from your family, don't come to the country illegally. You're having individuals coming from Central or even South America
Yeah.
risking their lives and their children's lives.
Because their lives were at risk at
So
home.
they can go to an embassy and be safe.
How come that wasn't the name of the video? If you don't want to be separated from your children, do not enter the country illegally.
Wisconsinites, for Pennsylvanians, for working Americans who are tired of being taken away,
I'm sure.
shipped overseas, or taken by illegals.
I want to apologize to the nation for my vote for him. It was the wrong thing to do. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. Like I said, he is a racist.
Why do you believe he's racist?
Why do I believe he's racist? Look what happened in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
he said,
God,
they
really?
want to just cry and, they
The
need
mayor
help.
sucked.
Just because they're not white-skinned, he doesn't want to go down there and help them out.
So I take
Sorry, guys. Hope you're still there. I don't know. It keeps kicking me off of my own freaking live stream. Isn't that funny? Kick me off my own live stream.
Reasons why I voted for Donald Trump, because based on my perception of him, he is not a racist, and he has done so much. He has done so much for the black community.
And here are a couple of videos that he uploaded to his YouTube page back in June of 2016.
It makes me disgusted at the majority of this country, but then what can I expect anything from, you know, a majority of half the population nominating a person like Donald Trump, And I didn't want to get...
As for old Jeremy, only two things could have happened. Either A, he scammed his way on air, tricked CNN producers, he planned to get on TV just to trash President Trump. Or B,
Dude, I don't think it likes that front camera
knowing
on
he was a
this.
Trump hater all along, but put him on air anyways. Either way, as for CNN, this is why.
You are fake news.
That was not Clinton voters.
Like
Trump
using my
voters.
front camera
Those were
to
all
live stream.
Trump voters.
I'd say I find it fascinating when you bring these people together. And we talk about the phenomenon in the country right now where the president's approval rating, despite a booming economy, has a ceiling at 42 to 45%.
Despite this constant negative, this slew of negative press from the mainstream media, there's a new Gallup poll that shows President Trump's rating are on the rise, and 90% in fact of his supports the president. That's the second highest rating in modern history for the GOP.
What you see there is
Yeah, the
the
only
ceiling.
time was when we
You
went to
see
war
that
because
even
we
some people who voted for
believed
Donald
about the
Trump
planes. The
will not
planes.
support him because of the policies he has at the southern border, or just negativity, or perhaps foreign policy there.
And a recent Harvard study is bolstering the president's complaints, showing that 93% of CNN's
I don't know.
coverage of
Let me go
President
grab the
Trump
box.
was negative.
And unless
don't
he
even know.
replaces some of these people with people who voted against him, that could be trouble. Now, maybe that will happen if the economy improves. It'll be interesting to see as you continue to do these, if you get people who have been won over since the election. But if he loses some people who wanted a change of flavor and now don't like the flavor they're tasting, it'll be a problem.
I think that CNN and much of the national media is very dismayed because Trump is the first Republican president to strike directly back at the media. Previous Republicans have either ducked or tried to ignore the media. Even Reagan, in his avuncular fashion, tried to go over the heads of the media. But he never confronted the media with the same gladiatorial directness as Trump.
I am your voice.
If you don't want to be separated from your family, don't come to the country illegally.
Yeah. I guess this piece of freaking crap wasn't trying to spend
Tell us
$500-600
the first bit of the
bucks.
story where you were just sitting in class and
here
what
we
tumbled
go.
out of his mouth.
Well, he was showing us a Dave Chappelle skit where Dave Chappelle was making fun of white people. And then he was saying, oh, comedians give political relief. We need to listen to them. They're the voice that we need to, get us through these tough times in America when we're divided. And I really, doesn't it bother you that comedians can't come on college campuses anymore? He's like, no, because of white supremacists like Milo Yiannopoulos. And that's when I was like, no, he's not a white supremacist. And he couldn't give me an example when I pointed it out.
Probably a
So
decade.
we first got in contact because you sent me a video and you asked, is there an example of this?
Keeping
And he
it's always
suddenly went,
worked, but-
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
I think I have some
Let's play
updates
the
or something to
first
figure
bit
out.
of the video we have just with what you've just described, and then we'll talk about it because it's funny as hell. Here's the first bit of it. Good
Yeah, no, I had it
Samaritans
when I was in Hawaii,
can
I've been in
contextualize
Idaho,
a thing in a single
Arizona.
cartoon.
Sorry.
Isn't it?
Good satirists can contextualize a thing in a single cartoon.
Doesn't it bother you that comedians can't come on college campuses anymore?
Yeah, but we're happy to invite Richard Spencer or some neo-Nazi, right? That's the big controversy going around. Is that white supremacists, they can come to college campuses, but we can't
I
invite
think it's the phone.
Like who?
Milo.
Well, he wasn't able to come here.
But he was just invited to University of Michigan or something.
But he's not a white supremacist.
Sorry?
He's not a white supremacist.
He absolutely is.
No, he's not.
Milo?
No, he's married to a black guy. How is he a white supremacist?
All I want to say is that Milo has systematically proposed an ideological worldview that only ends in one place, and that's the same place that Richard Spencer already is.
Can you give an example?
I would have to dig for like his articles or some of his.
Yeah, oh yeah, you have no answer.
Scrutiny when you immediately ask him.
I hate these morons. They
can you
think
just
they're
let us
smart.
know
They
what
go to
he
college
said,
and they
or
know
have
less
to
than us.
come back to it. I think you rattled him because what happens next is really funny. He shows up in
Yeah.
class. Tell us.
Yeah, he was like, well, I'll get to that. I'll find examples. And I was like, I've seen his speeches. And he's like, no, I'll come up. I'll put it on my list. So then he comes the following day, the Thursday, with like this whole.
Sorry, but is it not funny? Like, whatever. I never went to college, but I've only changed into caring about politics like right before Trump started running for president, or right as he declared. And something kicked into me. I'm like, what's going on here? Hillary or Trump? Looked at, I'm like, definitely Trump. But no, these freaking kids, they go to college. They have all the time in the world to be learning about this. And they're getting fed, spewed, freaking demonic lies. And they eat it up with no proof. And then you see other kids that actually go find freaking some proof. And you come at them with facts and they have nothing but bullshit. And then, you saw how she asked. Well, no, I'll have to go dig some up. So you have no idea about what you're talking about, but you're ready to defend it. And you're ready to go take Nazi scalps and go punch a freaking Nazi. I mean, it's insane.
Presentation with a PowerPoint and everything to try to one-up me.
trying to. This
I
is
need a
sort of like
PowerPoint.
you've really rattled him. He's not sure of himself, so he goes and he, as it turns out, plagiarizes a BuzzFeed hit job.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He has this huge PowerPoint presentation, which is basically just cut and pasted from BuzzFeed, including a graph that he doesn't
He
credit.
probably
either.
contacted BuzzFeed and said, hey, can you help me?
All right, let's watch this bit after this. Just want to see what happens in the class next to what he comes back with.
Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever. Okay,
Yep.
I said the other day that he was a white supremacist, white nationalist, and you were like, I don't think he is. And so I had to dig into it. Why would you suspect he's a white nationalist? There's a bunch of reasons. Number one is the privilege grant. He instituted a scholarship, he created a scholarship by himself that's only available to white men, and it claims that white men are disadvantaged compared to female, queer, and ethnic minority classmates. The white male is the victim, which is the implicit. He also has opposed LGBTQ rights, and he called feminism cancer. He was banned from Twitter. He was a key leader at Breitbart News, and one of his key roles was he enabled the alt-right and white nationalism to prosper in this country. He mainstreamed it.
I don't mind lesbians, but I like lipstick lesbians. Not
For him,
bold
it's not
like
about
blue
white
hair.
nationalism, it's about Western ideas being the best. West is best is actually white nationalism. Self-hatred is often the root of racism. White civilization, anti-Semitic, racist racism. Hitler, racist.
Semester. Hello, everyone.
All right, you guys still there? Sorry.
Evidence that
Isn't it funny getting kicked off my own damn live stream? Goodness. All right, here we go. Sorry, guys.
this guy is a white nationalist. Yes, there is.
Hello,
Kicked everybody
everyone.
off.
My name is Ariana. You probably infamously know me for being the one that's been arguing back and forth with me.
Anybody
thus far
still here?
in the semester.
Welcome to.
It doesn't show anybody's here.
Hello. Broadcasting from South Florida, this is The Milo Show. I'm Milo, and today
Shows nobody's
a
here.
special greeting to you, Professor Height.
Oh, shit.
Now, I am, as you may know, a gay, Jewish,
hilarious.
black dick-sucking immigrant.
Hello.
And under normal circumstances, you ought to love me. But you don't, because I have the wrong politics. Now, it turns out that I don't just love guzzling black dicks. Actually, I'm in love with a black man. And I don't just fetishize his skin color, as you social justice warriors like to say, but I love him, I respect him, I cherish him, and he loves me. He makes me a better version of myself. If it doesn't persuade you that I could fall in love with and be loved by an African-American man, And if that doesn't persuade you that I'm not a racist, I don't know what would. I'm not sure what would. I'd quite like to find out. Now, look, you and I obviously have very different definitions of nationalism. You have called me a white nationalist.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I will get this figured out for tomorrow, I hope, but finish this up. This is
Schools
funny.
and taxpayer money to smear definitions of white nationalism. You have called me a white nationalist to your class, in a public school using taxpayer money to smear a conservative commentator in defiance of the facts. How about we talk it out? I'll come up to your class. I live in South Florida. It's a very short drive up to Boca. I'm happy to come up any Tuesday of your choice. Let's debate in front of the class, live. Let's do it. And it doesn't have to be televised. You don't have to live stream it. It doesn't have to be a public spectacle. This can be a private event, if you want it to be, if you're worried that you might lose. Or it could be a public event if you think you've got something to say. I am not a white nationalist, and I'm not a racist, but I am a conservative, and that's enough these days to have you smeared by journalists whose headlines you're obviously believing. That's a pity, but I wouldn't like in a public school for you to mislead your students in that way, so I invite you to a debate, your terms, you name the date, you name the place. I hope you'll accept my invitation. Thank you very much, Professor Hyde.
Oh.
Sign of feminism is cancer came up. I'm a woman, and I happen to have had cancer when I was younger and survived it, and I wasn't the least bit offended when I saw this statement. The better term is Islamophobia, which Milo is not afraid to say about himself because he happens to be a gay guy, and it's perfectly normal for a gay guy to be Islamophobic.
My goodness. Again, I am sorry. This is ridiculous. It's almost over.
They want to kill him. And then in his book, which is a New York Times bestseller, Dangerous, he wrote an entire chapter of why the alt-right hates me, in which he goes into reasons and he disavows it and ridicules white nationalists and neo-Nazis at length. You should take the time to read his book, because if you did, you'd realize, okay, this isn't really adding up if he's part of the alt-right. If you could point to me any neo-Nazi meme that Milo has ever endorsed, published, or retweeted, please show it to me, because I could not find it at all. If we're to judge everyone by their friends and associates, many people would be harshly condemned, including Barack Obama. Here he is with the picture with Farrakhan. And then we have...
Wow. Alright, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see if maybe for whatever reason it somehow could be that camera on the front, because then I got a good reason to take it the hell back.
And then
Let's see how this works.
Hillary Clinton. Here she is with Klansman Robert Byrd.
I don't want to debate. I would never invite somebody like that to debate me. That's not my purpose here as an educator.
It's backwards.
He is.
Well, I'm just gonna let it go for a second, just to see if it's the camera.
Yeah, he will.
Sorry.
So he's declined our invitation to debate him. The professor of rhetoric and argument has declined our invitation. I think when he leaves, I should
Hold on,
show
let's
up
just see if it's
in
the
back of
camera.
class and announce myself as the class's new rhetoric teacher.
Yeah, when he's in Skype, because he can't do anything if he's on Skype, if he's on the screen.
I could just like appear in front of the camera and go, hi.
Just give it a minute, I know.
What do you do? Yeah.
Turn out and say, I'm gonna teach them, okay? I got it from here.
Well, that sucks that it's backwards, but it was starting to not even last a minute, so I just want to let this go for a couple minutes. If it's a camera, I have a damn good reason to take it back.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting, and even Snoop Dogg, who said he was going to move to Africa if Trump won, chose South Africa. Of course he did. It's the country with the white people in it. Fucking f***s. These people are odious fucks.
Yeah, it shows it's backwards. Yeah, that's weird.
All right, pumpkin, let's go.
Up you get. He's a savage. I don't give a fuck.
And speak loudly. I'll try to get you a microphone. Where are you, Angel?
Where are you,
Stand up. There you
Angel?
go, sweetheart. Yeah. Now, if you, I'm going to repeat what you say, so go ahead. Especially in the bedroom.
Thank you. You claim to be this defender of black people, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
claim to abhor racism in all its forms. Your whole talk, right? This whole discussion.
It's the
is
damn
about
front
how
camera.
Liberals are the real racists, right? Isn't this true?
Do you have a question?
However, yes. What I want to know is how do you?
Shh.
How
Let
do you
him, let him
how do you
speak. He can
claim-
embarrass himself without your help.
How do you claim to be the anti-racist, the one who's calling out all the racists?
Just get to the question,
When-
sweetheart.
Just be patient. I'll get there. Okay. When you're the one who
I like
incited
being
your
scolded.
followers on Twitter to attack Leslie Jones, the star of Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Excuse me.
poor Leslie.
With
Poor
a storm
Leslie.
of racist tweets.
Okay,
They
I think I
compare
understand.
her to a gorilla.
I think I understand the broad thrust of your question. My turn.
How can you justify all this defense of Black America and claim to
You know how many
be
black people
the
make fun of
savior
white people
black
every
folks when there's
day?
not
Like,
a
all of
single
them?
I'm not
black
sure I
person
quite said that.
in this audience. You're in the largest. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. There's one. There's one. You brought one. You found one black person in a city that's has the largest black population in the state to come to your talk. So why aren't there more black people here if you're such a defender of Black America?
All right, we have
And
two.
explain
We have.
why you were banned from Twitter.
We have two
Why don't
questions
you
in there.
explain why
We're
you were
going to
banned from
address
Twitter?
both for you. Thank you very much for your question. Thank you for listening to him relatively respectfully. Why don't you sit down, Poppet, and I'm happy to address both things. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it. Alluding to me as some kind of viper about to strike. I'm going to be lovely. I'm going to be very
Lovely.
nice. First of all, stop believing what you read in the press. What I did you should have picked this up by now from whatever terrible blog you read, whether it's Vox or Mike or BuzzFeed or God, not Gawker anymore, thank God. Sorry about that. You should have picked up by now the media doesn't always get everything right. For instance, the last election. And indeed, in this case, they got lots of other things. Now, you see, I'm answering your question, but you need to listen. I wrote, as most of this audience will know, I wrote a very waspish review of the new Ghostbusters movie, which is total fucking garbage. And I said so. And if our friend down here had read the review, he might have known, for instance, that in the course of... You need to calm down, and you need to let me finish. If he had taken the time to read the review, which of course he has not, he would have known that in the course of that review, actually, I mounted a defense of Leslie Jones. What I said was, I found it quite disturbing that she was expected to play what amounts to a sort of minstrel show. You know, this kind of, like black girl attitude that I found to be a little bit out of date. I mean, we had that stuff in the 90s, and it was a little bit cringe then. 2016. I mean, she's a black woman in a Hollywood blockbuster. Does she really still need to play that same stereotypical black character? Couldn't she have been a bit more well-rounded? Or couldn't she have just been normal, you know, and just happen to have black skin? That's what that review said. You don't know that because you didn't fucking read it. But what I said, what I later went on to do, what I later went on to do, darling, you have to listen to the answers. You have to listen to the answers. What I later went on to do when I tweeted the review was make some jokes at her expense, because she isn't a particularly attractive woman. I'm entitled to say so. She's a celebrity. I said it was nice they put a hot black dude in the movie. I also... The joke, of course, being my own expense, talking about my sex life. I also said that she was playing the victim, which of course she was. There's a reason that Leslie Jones went out complaining about her, the mean words she was getting on the internet, because the movie was tanking. Do you believe for a second that a prominent Hollywood actress sits at home crying on their iPhone, surrounded by guilt and marble and millions of dollars because somebody said mean things on the internet? I don't believe that any more than you do. But she was deployed to complain about bad words on the internet. Now, it is true that following the publication of my article, some people, a small contingent on the internet, said things to her which I found utterly disgusting, and I have every interviewer who ever cared to ask, which is not many of them because they're not interested in the truth, they're interested in identifying racists and ejecting them from polite society. I've told you have to listen, sweetheart. I'm actually indulging you. I am indulging you. I am indulging you with a far more detailed answer than you deserve. So you should listen. Now, most people aren't interested in what actually happens, and Twitter had been trying to get rid of me for a very long time. Now, in America, identity politics, which has sort of superseded reason, logic, and the truth as the guiding principle behind public life, takes root not just in the media, but also in social media companies in Silicon Valley. They hated Trump with a vengeance. They hated Trump even more than the media did. And Twitter took the opportunity to get rid of me, claiming that I was inciting targeted harassment of somebody. This is a charge I deny. This is a charge I refute utterly. I am not responsible for what hundreds of thousands of people on the internet tweet. I am responsible for what I tweet. Would the same people claim that I was responsible for inciting harassment of Leslie Jones, as though she gives a shit what I or some random avatars on Twitter have to say about her? Would the people complaining about that hold Justin Bieber accountable for the death threats sent to Selena Gomez? Would these people hold Beyonce responsible for the death threats that her fans sent to Taylor Swift? Would these people hold any other person in public life responsible for the actions of their fans? Or is it more likely that there's a double standard at play when it comes to libertarians
Yeah, it
and
sucks how they make
conservatives
that
that
happen.
no matter what you do or what you say or how could it be that there is in fact a double standard at play, and that they will, on the basis of no evidence whatsoever, and nobody could ever produce anything, ever, in the history of my journalistic career, and let me tell you they tried, could never produce a statement that could plausibly be described as racist. And most of the reports didn't even include the tweets that got me banned, the jokes at her expense, because they were so funny that the journalists realized it undermined their case. So I'm not able to hear you because you're yelling again, but so that's the answer to the first. Oh dear. Are you joking? I don't think I'm a victim. It's the best thing that ever fucking happened to me. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't take my Twitter account back if they begged me. Are you kidding? Never been so grateful to be censored. Not that I like it when they do it to other people, because I can take it. Well, I'm sorry for being popular. I can take it as, you know what, never mind. But many private citizens can't. And the reason I made a fuss about it wasn't for my own sake. I don't give a shit. I am 10 times better known than I was before I lost that Twitter account. They did me an enormous professional favor in banning me from Twitter. The reason I care about it is not for me or for Azealia Banks, who I love, who said appalling things about people for years, but was only banned 2 weeks after she, guess what, endorsed Trump.
He is funny.
Not for Charles Johnson's sake, who was also banned for no good reason. Chuck Johnson, the founder of Got News, now he tweeted that he was raising money to take out DeRay Mackison, who we're going to get to in a minute, one of the Black Lives Matter leaders. It was very clear, totally clear, this guy's a journalist, and take out meant publish a piece of journalism that would damage his reputation. Nobody, absolutely nobody, with more than 2 brain cells to rub together could possibly ever have believed that a 5'10" ginger bespectacled journalist was raising money to assassinate a Black Lives Matter leader. Nobody believes that. Absolutely no one. But they claimed that it was some sort of death threat. What's going on here? Double standards and inconsistent enforcement of rules if you have the wrong politics. and every conservative and every libertarian will come across this on social media. And I cared about the Leslie Jones case not for my... All you will discover is that you lose your Twitter account. You lose your voice. You lose your ability to express yourself. You lose your ability to express perfectly respectable, reasonable, mainstream opinions that should be inoffensive to the majority of America, and you lose your ability to share your points of view with others because you have the wrong politics. And it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to all of you. It's already happening on Twitter. I mean, there's now a concerted campaign on Twitter to get Donald Trump banned, you know. And the media is kind of complicit with this. And Twitter has a long history of rolling over when it gets too much bad press from the left. Might happen. The network will go. The Twitter will die even faster if they do it. Imagine it, banning the president. But it might happen. And this tells you something about the stupidity and lunacy of Twitter and why that happened. Let's move on, shall we?
Okay. Well, that was hilarious. I guess we'll see how long this one goes, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get this figured out. Hopefully by tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know if it came out.
As you
what
know,
the
I've
hell.
talked a bit about dangerous intolerance in the left. I mean, take our same-sex marriage debate. So many people in the left screaming abuse at opponents, trying to stop Christians even meeting, trying to sue an archbishop to stop.
I think so. I don't know. I'm out my back. There's got to be a party, like, I don't know, on the other side of the street, on the corner or something. Man, it sounds like it has to have been a party that went bad because, I mean, what time is it now? It's pretty damn late, and I can just hear them. I mean, it just sounds like there's 20 people fucking yelling. They got to be on the other side of the street, like at the corner. But yeah, sounds like end of the night party breaking up and everybody's losing their damn mind. That's pretty fucking funny. But yeah, I can hear them in my garage, and I walked out as I was trying to reboot this crap up. Alright, let's see. Yeah, they seem like they're losing their damn minds. Hilarious. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's the phone. I don't know. My last phone started messing up. That's why I went to go get a new one, and this one is already... But, like, I've only had it for freaking, like... Only been messing around with it for a couple hours, so... I don't know that I have everything figured out.
And so this, just from today, later in the program, this bullying is not just a problem with the gay marriage debate. There's protesters also stopping people from simply hearing conservative politicians like Cory Bernardi. And mass protesters now from Antifa attacking other protesters they don't like, or even attacking me in the street. Then there's the increased censorship from our politicians. I mean, just yesterday, Parliament passed another law limiting free speech during this debate on gay marriage. So I thought there wasn't much left to amaze me. But
you're wrong.
Then I tried to get to speak to my next guest. Obviously, I needed to arrange a studio over there from people who we often deal with, CNN in this case. It's left-leaning but professional, right? Now, CNN has interviewed the mass-murdering dictator Robert Mugabe. It's interviewed the former Ku Klux Klan leader, David Duke. It's interviewed the Syrian dictator, Bashar al-Assad. Yet, CNN has now drawn a line at one person. It has told us that out of concern for its staff, I could not now use its Washington studio to interview Milo Yiannopoulos, a gay libertarian activist, a provocateur, a Trump supporter, and now author of a memoir, Dangerous, a New York Times bestseller, despite some book outlets refusing to sell it, and Washington train stations banning protesters.
Yeah, this is annoying.
They caused so much damage and danger that the meeting had to be cancelled. Students who were trying to hear Milo were punched and splashed with paint. And one was sprayed in the face with pepper spray by a protester as she talked to a journalist. So, good gracious me, what is Milo's crime? Well, one is that he is a gay who refuses to conform to the left's stereotype. He won't play the victim card, for instance, and he's a conservative who campaigned for Donald Trump.
The left, Hillary Clinton, being the largest and greatest incarnation. The left in America is determined to unravel the founding documents of this country. It is time for us to speak with one loud, clear voice and say no more. The whole process is over. Yep.
No, but it is also true. Milo's been very rude, too rude at times, sometimes to get attention, and sometimes aggressively rude when he's tackling people who are playing the race card, for instance. And last year he lost his job, lost the book contract, lost a lot of credibility after making flippant and offensive comments about boys and gay sex.
He did do this.
You were the predator. You were chasing.
This is weird, but he was raped
chasing
as a kid.
everybody. I was aggressively seeking out sexual company of adults because I knew it would horrify people. Because I wanted sort of power over them. It was my way of rebelling. My way of rebelling. I was the predator of 14. Let me tell you.
He also went on to say that in some cases, 13-year-olds with older men
This is
could
bad.
actually
This is, I don't know what he was thinking to say this.
Now, Milo apologised for those comments, said he in no way excused pedophilia, said he shouldn't have referenced 13-year-olds, and he was reflecting on his own relationship as a 14-year-old with an older teacher, a priest. The relationship, he said, had been actually abusive. And yet, as I said at the time, it was a terrible, terrible misjudgment. And he has paid a huge price. Now, if he were of the left, it of course had been forgiven already by the media class, just as Hollywood, its left, has forgiven even director Roman Polanski, who wasn't actually raped as a child, as Milo was at 14, but was himself the rapist of a 13-year-old girl he'd drugged.
Roman Polanski, I'm very sorry that he's in jail.
You know, what I'm learning in my life is to be less judgmental.
I know it wasn't rape.
It wasn't rape?
But Milo isn't of the left, so that makes him fair game, that makes him a non-person,
It wasn't rape?
that makes him a villain.
What the heck does that mean, Whoopi?
And Robert Mugabe. And that now makes him my guest earlier today.
What is wrong with these people, man?
Milo Yiannopoulos, thank you so much for joining me. Why are you so dangerous that CNN, happy to interview Mugabe, happy to interview Bashar al-Assad, happy to interview David Duke, but they can't even let you walk into one of their studios to come and talk to me? Now, what is going on?
It's a wonderful compliment, isn't it? A wonderful compliment that CNN, the citadel of fake news, finds me so threatening. More threatening than murderous African dictators. More threatening than actual white supremacists. Not, the people they call white supremacists, which is just every Republican. What a wonderful compliment. They consider me such a dangerous ideological ally. Such a threat to their narrative. Such a, an existential threat to the existence of political correctness, speech codes, safe spaces, and all of the other ludicrous inventions of the social justice progressive left, that they won't even allow me to step inside their building. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, but what is it that, you're laughing at it, but I find this absolutely sinister. You've also, you got that ban from Twitter and all that. You had a metro station, metro organization in Washington tear down your billboards selling your book. Milo, this is not just a joke. This is a sort of non-personing, which I find rather sinister. What is it about you that's supposedly so dangerous?
I do try to make light of it because I think it's important to laugh at the silliness of the other side. I think it's important to laugh at them when they're being, when they're so obviously showing fear, to drive home the advantage. And I think ridicule is an important tool in our arsenal. But you're of course right that this is a serious subject. This is a big deal. When a gay Brit who comes over and has some conservative opinions, because he's so effective, pretending I don't exist, that would stop people from hearing what I have to say. Well, it's not working, because while they are looking the other way, I'm quietly building an army. I'm selling hundreds of thousands of copies of my book. I'm selling out tours, arenas, all the rest of it. I'm coming to Australia later this year, I think in December, so I'm looking forward to seeing you then. And, I just treat it is a serious subject, but I do treat it with levity, and because I take it as a compliment. It's a sign that they're losing. It's a sign that they're so afraid of what the public might say if they were ever to read one of my books or come to one of my shows, where I don't express anything other than respectable, reasonable, normal conservative points of view. I just do it in a